Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of what we call Arrow Insights. I'm joined by a veteran and also founder of Australia's financial planning and wealth management industry, Mark O'Leary. So, Mark, good to have you on board today.
Thank you.
And my name is Peter Leggett, Executive Chairman at Arrow Private Wealth. Now, today we're going to be talking about managing a windfall. Now, we're not talking about winning Tats Lotto, although that could be something that people would need advice about. But Mark, there's a number of areas around that. And at Arrow, we talk about money in transition. What does that mean, money in transition, and why is it important to be getting advice around some of those key areas?
Well, I think that's money in transition really is a consequence of what we might call a windfall, which is receiving an amount of money which will make a profound difference to a person's life. Opens up all sorts of possibilities, leading to the idea of financial freedom, being able to make good decisions about what they do with the rest of their lives.
Yep.
And this can come about through retirement, the sale of a business, or being a beneficiary of an estate. And it often puts people in a position where they can really take control and think about the next step. So if we're talking about retirement planning, it's once people have dealt with the concept of longevity, they've taken what they've got through this windfall and taken care of their own lifestyle needs for the rest of their lives, all the way through to 95, as we say here. It's what do they do? What do they do with the rest? How do they engage with the rest of the family, etc. And that obviously follows through those other two areas that I've spoken about.
Mark, many of our ideal clients, and just happens to be similar ages to ourselves, our ideal clients, those that are listening today, are family stewards. They're wanting to look after their families. And unsurprisingly, many of them fit into this baby boomer age group. So they're now, roughly age 60 to mid 70s. Well, we're talking to them about planning to live to age 95, this concept of longevity. That's a really important point around that. What are some of the areas of advice that they need to be considering at a structural and a lifestyle matter for themselves?
I think in terms of, I think the first one is to embrace the concept of longevity in real terms. I think, you and I would know that when we started our careers, we didn't even think about getting to
Society's not talking about
65.
Is it?
Right.
No, exactly.
So now we're talking about people that have reached that point in their lives and they know it's going to happen. All things being equal, they know they're going to get through another 20 or 30 years. Many of them have still got their own parents alive.
Yes.
So it's a real thing for them. So this idea of actually working hard, accumulating wealth, and then not losing it, through bad planning. Wealth preservation is a key point. Yeah. So for them, it's about saying, okay, well, I've worked hard for this. It's all about me to some degree. I want to be rewarded for the work that we've done. And we need to understand what it is we need to live on without running out of money.
What was scary when you and I first joined the industry, and it seemed like a long time ago, but it's gone fairly quickly, and the number of families and business owners that we've spoken to. The Australian statistics for a male retiring at age 65, longevity was, the male statistics, life expectancy was to 74.8.
Yep.
Like, that doesn't seem real. A 74-year-old passing away, and yet now they're thinking about, hang on, I've got money that's coming from a variety of different sources, including downsizing, inheritances.
Yep.
Some of the inheritances from their elderly parents who are now in their late 80s and 90s. Substantial.
Yeah.
Substantial amounts of money.
Yeah, that's true.
What are the key steps then, Mark, that people that we've picking up a windfall, money in transition, what are some of the key steps that they should be seeking?
I think when people reach the point of actually receiving the windfall and being able to, financially plan their lives without sort of worrying about running out of money, etc., their responsibilities become entirely different. And so it's about understanding themselves, understanding their partners, understanding their families, understanding what it is they want to do, because they've got the ability to do that now. Yeah. When we first started, it was just about 1 or 2 generations. Yes. Now it's 4.
Yes, indeed. Now, it's not surprising that you'd be saying they should be seeking advice. And that's what you do. That's what Arrow Private Wealth does. Develops strategy, advice, and builds ongoing family relationships, intergenerational relationships. So there's no surprise about that. But what has changed is the breadth of what that advice looks like.
Yep.
And the conversation around people picking up this money in transition, the starting point on that is what we call a discovery meeting.
Yep.
It's about their core values, the things that are important to them. When you understand the things that are in their heart and mind, you've got a better chance of developing the right strategy, developing that right advice, putting the right structures and areas, bringing the right experts to the table, their tax and their lawyers or their bankers or their brokers or whatever to the table to get that advice right. There's a critical part of that. Your experience where you've done that for many people and continue to do that, bringing the right team to the table, especially when there's large windfalls or money in transition. Share with us just some of the recent ones of people that are downsizing, we're having increasingly those conversations, as well as selling businesses. Share some of the steps that they're taking and how you're coordinating that advice process.
Well, I think that when I reflect back on some of the relationships I've shared with clients over a long period of time now, we thought we knew them pretty well, as they were accumulating wealth and building families and paying off debt, etc. But I think that when people have achieved the mountain they've been climbing, the last 30 or 40 years, they think about things a lot differently. And so the discovery meetings are far more far deeper, of great value to them and to us as advisors. And so we used to spend maybe an hour with clients trying to get to understand who they were and what their aspirations were. Now it's an hour and a half, it's 2 hours, and we're discovering a lot more about them. And I think that gives us the ability to actually craft advice that's totally appropriate for them and also for the next generations. And I think that people in that environment are far more relaxed and far more open and far more giving.
Yeah, it's not about, here's some money, this is what you go and do it, investing it, and putting some sort of fancy portfolio, as important as that might well be.
Yeah.
It is about understanding their core values, and for many of them, it's around their family, and we've spoken about this earlier and in previous sessions that we've done. This aspect around family, intergenerational wealth and wealth preservation and wealth transfer becomes an important part of that as well. Mark, one of the things that is important, what we call below the line, are things like putting the right structures in place, bringing the right team to the table, thinking about how does the generations flow through with this part of it, with the large inheritances. Should there be some governance aspects around there? Should there be some family rules or investment rules around that to ensure that what they want to happen can actually happen both at law, with taxation, as well as succession? Just thinking or reflecting on some of the people that you're currently dealing with, what are some of those key points that are worthwhile for us to be tabling today?
Well, I think once we've got plenty of examples of clients who have made decisions to engage their next generation and the generation after, letting them know what their intentions are via the estate, what they want to do in terms of living gifts. A lot of our clients get great pleasure now at actually providing financial support or guidance to the next generation whilst they're there to sort of see the result, if you like. And so for us, it's all about engagement with the entire family, if that's the case. If we have to put rules around that to make sure that whatever's done is done equitably, then we'll do that. But also, I just think it's something that people, as a family group, need to sort of discuss and embrace together. Rules are rules. That's important. If there's potential for issues further down the track.
Well, it's about wealth protection, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rules can be helping them, making sure the family doesn't blow up. The family wealth, whatever that means, making sure that what mum and dad or whoever flow it down through the family. But there's also these tax issues here as well, family law issues for consideration. So wealth protection becomes a really critical part.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, and of course, a lot of our clients just don't want to have the tax man impact unnecessarily on the wealth that have accumulated by not thinking about how to distribute it to that next generation
correctly and legally. And using the right structures on that. Mark, as we start to wrap up this session, from a private wealth management's point of view, we talk about advanced planning, and for many of our clients, their core issue is about preserving their wealth. It's about protecting the wealth, and we just spoke about that as well. And that last aspect of it is transferring their wealth, which we spoke about in an earlier episode. Just want to ask you one last point, because with substantial windfalls, this money in transition, and for many clients, it is substantial, and it's in many cases much, much greater than they've ever had before. They're starting to think, this generation are starting to think philanthropic, about charitable causes, about not-for-profits.
Yeah.
Just share with us a little bit about that conversation and why people are not wanting to keep it for themselves, but thinking a little bit more dynamically to the broader world and community.
Yeah. Well, a lot of our clients have had experience, profound experience inside their own families where they might have been impacted by health issues, or anything else that might have impacted along the way in a negative way. And these clients, if you like, are now in a position to make some difference and help in that particular regard. And so increasingly we are exposing our clients to the not-for-profit sector and various causes that are relevant and important to them. We think that apart from the financial impact, the level of engagement by families in those not-for-profits is a way of actually bonding those families together as well under a common cause. So it's the financial impact, it's the feel-good factor, but it's also something that families can do together.
Part of what we talk about, Mark, is living gifts and living estate planning, living family succession planning. It's doing things whilst we're still alive, and receiving a large windfall, a large inheritance, money in transition opens up so much more, but it's the engaging conversation around their strategy and the goals and objectives that they want to achieve out of that, getting that right advice. Been a good conversation around what we call money in transition. Clearly, it's about seeking advice, putting the right people around you, and helping you make the decisions that are important for you and for your own family and for those around you as well. We would welcome an opportunity to talk with you at any further stage of some of these points that Mark has been raising today. But for us, these are the conversations that we need to be having, and we'd be pleased to do so. So on behalf of Mark and myself at Arrow Private Wealth, we wish you all the best. We look forward to engaging with you on a future session together. And from us, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Well done, and
Terrific.
bye for now.